Hey ladies and gentlemen, Steven here from Redolessence and welcome back to another video. Thank you so much for joining me today. I really do appreciate it and I hope that this video finds you well. In today's episode, we're going to be going over 3 fragrances by the company Versace, and this is a line overview of the Versace Pour Homme fragrances. Of course, we have the original from 2008, we have Versace Pour Homme Oud Noir from 2013, and we have Versace Pour Homme Dylan Blue from 2016. So make sure to stay tuned. Before I start this video and I go over these 3 fragrances by the company Versace and I'll let you know which my favorite is, what the different occasions and seasons and situations that all of these are appropriate for, I do want to mention that if you are a fan of fragrance related content, if you like fragrance reviews here on YouTube, but also top 10 videos, giveaways, unboxings, special guests, interviews, and pretty much anything having to do with fragrances, please do consider supporting this channel by subscribing to it. All you have to do is click on that red button in the corner. And of course, while you're at it, please be sure to enable notifications by clicking on the bell icon. This way, whenever I do put out these videos, they will get delivered straight to your feed. You never need to worry about missing any of my future uploads. So here we have 3 fragrances by the company Versace. Obviously, there are far more from this company. We have Versace Eros. We have that available in a couple different concentrations. We also have Versace Man Eau Fresh. We have the original Versace L'Homme. So this company goes way back, but here we have 3 of the more popular fragrances from the line, with the exception of Eros, because I do think that Eros is pretty popular. But these are 3 fragrances that I'm pretty sure were all composed by perfumer Alberto Morillas, who is an incredibly talented perfumer. The only one I wasn't too sure about is the middle one, but I'm fairly confident it was him as well, because he does a lot of work for this company. So the original is the Versace Pour Homme from 2008. Now, I must mention that I am a big fan of this fragrance. I remember when I initially purchased it, which was many, many years ago, might have been as early as 2012 or 2013 or something like that. I immediately fell in love with how bright, watery, aquatic, citrusy it is. I know it has this note of hyacinth. I don't get it too strongly. It's more about that lemon and neroli opening with a little bit of that tonka bean and musk thing in the base. It just smells very clean. And I have to mention, I know it's a little bit cringeworthy, if you will, because this fragrance is so inexpensive, but my wife loves Nautica Voyage. It's one of her favorite fragrances ever. And when I familiarized myself with that proclivity and that tendency to really appreciate those clean, fresh laundry detergent, dryer sheet sorts of fragrances, I said, you know what, she's really gonna love Versace Pour Homme, and I was totally right. I ended up purchasing it, she fell in love with it, and as you can probably tell, I've worn a lot of it, even though I have only the 50 ml bottle here, but obviously I upgraded with the other 2 because I found myself really enjoying this line. So in terms of the smell, this is the brighter, fresher, more citrusy rendition from the collection. So if you're looking for the lightest offering, you definitely have to go with the original from 2008. It's still selling like hotcakes, whether you go to Macy's or Sephora or any other department store Winners, you're gonna find it, right? And a lot of times it is discounted, which is why I mentioned Winners, because you'll also find it at TJ Maxx and Marshalls and many of these other department stores, whether you're in the States, Canada, or elsewhere. So definitely check it out, look around. I'm gonna leave some links down below if you are interested in getting it for the best price online. But then the next one here in the collection is from 2013, and this is the darkest expression of the 3, and this is Versace Pour Homme Oud Noir. Now, of course, oud is one of these ingredients that is highly sought after. There is no natural oud used in this fragrance. It's a very expensive ingredient, especially when it's left to macerate for a long time. And depending on where in the world it's sourced, it can actually end up being quite expensive. And it could also vary by the smell. So Hindi oud might be a little different from Cambodian oud, so on and so forth. Laotian oud is another variation too. So in this particular fragrance, there's more of an oud accord. Now, for those of you who don't know, oud, otherwise known as agarwood, is a type of ingredient that comes from the Acalaria tree species, and it's when a particular mold or fungus starts to develop on the actual tree, and so the tree produces this gum or this resin as a resistance to this infection, and it exudes this very hypnotizing and exotic exotic aroma that is highly sought after, and they found a way to distill the essence so that they can use it in the perfume industry. And so this one kind of smells like agarwood, but it's more about those ambery nuances, and it's a little spicy too. So there's saffron, there's cardamom. You're not going to smell like a spice kitchen or a pantry or anything like that, but just know that there is a little bit of that thing going on in there. And saffron is typically used in the synthesis of a leather accord. So this one also has leathery nuances, but it's more resinous and more ambery to my nose. So just keep that in mind. If you're a fan of that particular style or that DNA, chances are you might actually really enjoy this one. And this one actually smells a lot like a more expensive fragrance by the company Tom Ford. It's part of their private blend lineup, and it's called Oud Wood. So if you're familiar with that creamy, resinous, woodsy thing going on in Oud Wood by Tom Ford, but you want the designer version of that, definitely check out Versace Parfums Oud Noir. So this is the darkest expression of the three. And then lastly, we have Versace Parfums Dylan Blue. Now this is their response to Dior Sauvage by Christian Dior. Now that is one of the most popular fragrances, one of the best-selling fragrances of the past 10 years, and for good reason. It gets tons of compliments, it's very safe, it's very easy to wear, it's refreshing, it has a lot of bergamot, it has some spicy nuances, so there's black pepper in there, but it also utilizes this synthetic note or molecule called ambroxan, which is a synthetic form of ambergris, which is very expensive. And so this also has ambroxan, but it has a little bit of incense in the base, a very, very mild patchouli nuance, but it also has black pepper and a lot of these similar ingredients from Dior Sauvage, including the bergamot, including a lot of the citrus. So if you're looking for something that is a bit more appropriate for an office setting, if you want something that you can also wear dressed up as opposed to casually, I would 100% recommend this one. However, the most formal one in the entire collection, in my opinion, would be Oud Noir, just because it's so specific in the way that it smells. It's so different, and I think it has the ability to turn heads. Now, of course, at this point, if you have a favorite, leave a comment down below. I'm always curious, to hear about what your favorites are, and I'll be revealing what my favorite is by the end of this video. But let's talk about longevity and performance a little bit, because I know that's probably on a lot of people's minds. So this one is going to give you about, and I'm talking about the current formulations here, you're going to get about 5 hours longevity. With Versace Oud Noir, you're going to get about 7 hours longevity. With Dylan Blue, you're going to get about 6 hours longevity. So you have the best performing one, which in my opinion and on my skin is Oud Noir, but then you also have the lightest one, which is the original. Now, of course, companies do this a lot, and I'm not accusing Versace of doing this because I haven't actually looked at a lab analysis to see what the concentration of alcohol is to aromatic compounds and whatnot, but I know that after a while they'll either reformulate their original fragrance to save money, or because of IFRA, International Fragrance Association regulations and new guidelines that are imposed on them. But I have heard from people that the newer formulations do not last as long as the original. However, please bear in mind that I did purchase this some time ago, as I mentioned earlier on in the video. So on my skin, it still lasts a long time, but conservatively speaking, I heard from people recently that their bottles are yielding about 5 hours longevity. So just keep in mind 5 hours, 6 hours, 7 hours. So if you're a fan of longevity, you want a fragrance that lasts a long time, I would definitely recommend picking this one up, but just know you're going to get a very different sort of a smell from it, because this is very dark, woodsy, spicy, oudi, ambery, and here you have something very bright, fresh, slightly floral, citrusy with an undertone of musk. Now, if we're talking about occasions, I know I mentioned it before, but let me formally re-mention it, if you will. You have the most casual fragrance of the bunch. You have the office, more versatile fragrance of the bunch. I feel like this one can be worn in a wide variety of situations. And while this one is more of a summertime and hotter weather fragrance, you can actually pull this one off in the fall as well. But if you're looking for something to wear in the dead of winter, I would definitely recommend Oud Noir, Versace Parfums Oud Noir. So in terms of longevity, I gave you that information. I broke that down. In terms of the occasions, like I said, this one is the most formal one. Now, when it comes to my favorite of the bunch, which one could I safely say is my favorite in the amount of times that I've worn it and how much I wear it and how much I appreciate the smell now. And I have to be quite transparent with you about something. When I first acquired this fragrance, I really couldn't see what was so special about it. I think it received a lot of hype relative to how I actually felt about it, and I just didn't see myself, you know, jumping on that hype bandwagon, if you will. But honestly, I think my favorite, if I had to pick one, it would be Dylan Blue. It's such a Swiss Army knife. It's so versatile. It's so easy to wear, so easy to pull off. Always gets me compliments. I can wear it dressed up, dressed down. I can wear it in 3 out of the 4 seasons. If you're wearing it indoors in a climate controlled environment, you can wear it every single season. But my wife's favorite, I have to be honest with you here, is the original Versace Homme. So if you're just looking for something that is very bright, fresh, clean, refreshing, citrus dominant with that undertone of musk that I spoke about, you probably want to go with the original. There's also that touch of sweetness in the dry down on account of the use of the note of tonka bean that can also extend that compliment factor very well into the dry down. So it's not like one of these fragrances where you're going to turn the most heads in the first hour of application and then people aren't going to be able to smell it on you after that 5th or 6th hour mark. This one will actually be perceived very many hours into the dry down. And so if you're looking for the fragrance that is going to get you the most compliments, in my opinion, it's either Dylan Blue or the original. But again, scent is subjective. Please keep these things in mind. I'm just hoping that this video was able to provide a basis for consumers. If you're feeling overwhelmed by your options, if you want a Versace fragrance, but you're not sure where to start, and you're inundated with all of these selections on the market, and I'm just here to help you make up your mind, right? So again, I'm curious to know, what is your favorite fragrance by Versace from this collection, or do you not like any of them? Leave a comment down below and let me know, like, hey, I don't like any of them. I've tried them all. I feel like they're okay for a particular clientele, just not for me. I totally respect that. The one, of course, that smells the most expensive is this middle one here, but that's only because of the connection that I was able to make and that many others were able to make to the Tom Ford private blend fragrance that I referenced earlier, Oud Wood. So thank you all so much for tuning in. I really do appreciate it. Thank you for your time today. Happy New Year once again, everybody. Today is only January 4th if I'm going to end up publishing this video today, but I definitely appreciate you all for your time. Thank you for watching. If you're new to this channel and this video helped you in some way, if you took anything of value from this video, please do consider supporting this channel by subscribing to it. All you have to do is click on that red button once more, and again, make sure to enable notifications by clicking on the bell icon. Thanks again for watching. I love you all. I appreciate you all, and we'll see you very soon. Bye.